and welcome to the WIMPS Cast. My name is Carrie Flynn. This week's WIMPS Cast is all about the recent trouble surrounding the 12th of July. This past week saw the annual 12th of July celebrations across Northern Ireland, and as always the event was a strange mixture of colourful pageantry and disturbing scenes of sectarian violence. The 12th of July is a traditional Protestant holiday marking the victory of Protestant King William of Orange over Catholic King James II at the Battle of Boyne in 1690. To mark the day, members of the Orange Order staged parades throughout Northern Ireland. In recent years, these parades have become the subject of serious controversy and heightened tensions between the two communities in Northern Ireland. Many Catholics oppose the celebrations, claiming they are a display of triumphalism and sectarianism, celebrating the historical dominance of Protestantism over the Catholic communities of Northern Ireland. The majority of problems occur when the parade routes take the marchers through or past what are predominantly nationalist areas. This has led to serious clashes between the marchers, residents and the police. Over the past few years, substantial efforts have been made to reduce the number of these flashpoints, with the setting up of the Parades Commission and the rerouting of several parades. Some parades, however, remain highly contentious, and over the past weekend, trouble flared in a number of areas across Northern Ireland. Some of the most serious violence erupted in the Ardorn area of North Belfast, where a protest against the planned Orange Parade quickly turned to violence as the police tried to clear a route for the march. This has led to heavy confrontations between the protesters and the police, and sustained violence which has continued for several days. Rioters threw petrol bombs, bricks, bottles, and in one instance, a blast bomb, while up to 6 shots were fired at police during the third night of violence in North Belfast on Tuesday. So far, a staggering 82 police officers have been injured in Belfast and other areas during 4 nights of rioting. One female police officer had a concrete block thrown under her head and was pelted with missiles by rioters as police colleagues and ambulance crews came to her aid at the height of the rioting. She is now in a stable condition in hospital. One of the most serious issues for the police and the communities involved is the number of young people engaged in the rioting, some as young as 9 years old. Northern Ireland's Chief Constable has described it as recreational rioting, with young people involved in disturbances for no other reason than to participate in these outbursts of violence and destruction. First Minister Peter Robinson said he was disgusted at the outright thuggery and vandalism and said there is no excuse for violence in a civilised society. The police have promised to bring those involved in the rioting to justice. On Wednesday, Assistant Chief Constable Duncan McCausland said police had hours of video footage from before the violence started and would use it to identify the rioters. Earlier this week, members of the WIMPS crew took to the streets of Belfast to find out your views about the recent trouble.
What do you think about the recent violence that occurred in the Ardorn area?
You can understand why they're angry and stuff, but there's no need to bring it out in the police because they're not really doing anything wrong. They're just trying to help, and then they're just they're just making it really bad. I just think it's really stupid.
I think I agree with the peaceful protesting and stuff because they do have a point, but I don't agree with the rioting and the violence.
The rioting against the police, it isn't as if, I know back in the 60s and 70s and stuff, the police weren't really that equal, but they're equal now, so they're rioting against the protests for the Orange Order, but they're rioting against the police. They're trying to prevent them from getting an outbreak of violence, so they're rioting for no reason at all, really.
People that are trying to distract and disrupt the community loads, and they haven't really got a reason to do it. They're just doing it because they want to.
People should just get along, and there's no point in fighting anymore because there's there's too much hassle and things get
we're all the same.
Yeah, it doesn't matter about
religion.
Yeah, religion or race or ethnic background or whatever.
Well, I think the recent violence is just due to the traditional, well, we'll say, sort of tensions that have always been in Northern Ireland, and that's just always going to be the way it is.
You can understand what they're doing, if you're really against that kind of thing, there's no really, if they want it, that's their way of voicing it, so it's probably not the best way to do it, but I can understand why they feel so helpless that they have to go out and do that.
Yeah, but it's tradition for them, and whatever side, it's a tradition of the loyalist side, but the national side feel that they're sort of rubbing it in their face and they're sort of trying to react and sort of counter it, if you will. and usually violence is the only way to solve it. Well, in Northern Ireland's history, violence has always been the way to solve things.
What do you think was the cause of this violence?
Well, tensions in the area, I suppose, and like people have different opinions and there's strong opinions.
I just think some people are just being stupid and they think that they're better than others when they're not. Yeah.
Like the religions and stuff, the split between Protestants and Catholics. People think that because Catholics don't treat us the way we treat them, then they think it's alright for them to hurt us and then we retaliate.
Do you think anything can be done to prevent future violence?
Probably better policing.
For me, I'll always go back to like community relations and stuff. We're from Craigavon.
Yeah, we do a lot of community
We're
relations.
Craigavon, and we know a lot of guys who know the people who go out and rant around there Lurgan, and like there's a lot going on around there. And they would say if it wasn't for things like the youth service taking them out, because they've got nothing else to do on a Friday and Saturday night. So the tensions are high, when they're all out anyway. It's something like that. The money needs to be helped for them to give them something else to do, because they're left to do nothing.
Like if they marched around it and like instead of, because they know there's going to be trouble, and then maybe they could like just not do anything to cause it.
Do you think the politicians can do anything about it?
If both communities talk together and stuff, if the MLAs and stuff from Ardoyne talk to those who were organising the parades coming through the Ardoyne shops, I'm sure they'd be able to find another route, because it wouldn't be that hard to try and walk around the Ardoyne shops so the rioting doesn't cause, and there would be no need for the police to be there for them to riot against.
Do you think it's just a step back in Northern Ireland's peace process?
The peace process has done so much. Like, if you look at how things were before, post and after the post Good Friday Agreement and pre-Good Friday Agreement, you can obviously see the differences. But the thing is, this has always been the way, so unless they solve what the issue is and why the two sides are sort of coming to blows over the 12th and that sort of time of year, it's not really going to be resolved pretty quickly.
Not a step back necessarily, but it's highlighting the fact that there's still people out there that still want to go back to that way, and no one really wants it anymore, and it's just giving themselves a bad name. So
the other thing is, I don't really think that the peace process moves as one whole movement. There's politicians and Stormont are moving forward, but on the ground level there's going to be your extremists who still believe, who are looking at their politicians saying, oh, they've sold us out, they're not true to our beliefs, this here, this, that and the other. And honestly, it's not going to be able, you can't honestly say Northern Ireland's going to move forward as a whole country. It's going to be dribs and drabs, and it's going to be parts. Like the youth service, like most of the young people we work with, we're from separate sides, as you would see, and it's just a lot of the work we do is sort of community relations and bringing people together and saying it's not about the religion or the tradition, it's more about what you have in common and what you like doing.
Just talk about it, like don't fight about it, just like try and sort it out before.
Yeah, all the leaders get together and sort it out together, rather than leave us to fight about it.
If they think that there's going to be a fight or something, like get together and talk about it rather than just
start fighting, because it's not up to us, it's up to them.
That's it for this week. For more information, log on to the news section of our website or check out the forum and give us your opinions on any of the stories hitting the headlines.